Hello and welcome to my channel Inspiring Life Changes. My name is Colette and I'm here today to do a reading for all the Geminis out there. This is a 2020 reading, Gemini, and I'm apologising straight away for having not done this before now, because we're now kind of midway through or over midway through January, and really I am very late at getting these out. Have been doing other things, been busy, and just generally not been able to get on this channel and kind of catch up with myself, which I'm hoping to do now. So like I say, it's a 2020 reading, and I've laid it out in a clock, and each number represents a month, and each month has two cards on it from two separate decks, because I like to have like a more overall reading, and also because it gives the energies a chance to come out twice if that's what needs to happen. I've also done a kind of larger astrological overlook for the year reading as well, which you can find on my channel. For anybody who hasn't been on my channel before, there are other videos up that I have done previously, and I also do new moon and full moon videos as well for anybody who is interested in astrology. And I also try to do the major kind of aspects, or when transits happen, when things take place astrologically as well, the major events, I will do a reading for them as well. I am hoping to get more readings together as well, as in trying to kind of branch out into different kind of things, doing different styles of reading as well. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, please could you do so, because it helps to get the message out there as well. And like my video as well, please, if you enjoy it, if you watch it through to the end, because it kind of gets it out there into the bigger kind of world of YouTube videos, and more people kind of see it, and that will help me grow my channel, which is really my aim for 2020, is to grow my channel, get my messages out there. So there are two cards also, Gemini, before I forget, that are in the center of this reading, which are the overall energies for the year of 2020, and I pick those cards after I've set all the other cards out as well. So the first card that we get, and just before I forget, I will also be putting a link below for anybody who is interested in finding out about their astrological natal charts and looking up their own chart as to what's happening at this moment in time as well. I will probably be bringing some astrology into this reading, depending on how it feels, whether I think it's relevant or not. But I will say that the conjunction, the Saturn-Pluto conjunction that has taken place in January and still is taking place, because Saturn and Pluto are still very close together, even though the Sun has just moved out of Capricorn and into Aquarius. Hooray! The energy is going to lift and change, which will be wonderful for us all. But that particular conjunction for you, Gemini, has just taken place in your 8th house and the 8th house is Scorpio related, so it's all about birth, death, transformation, change, the bigger aspect of people in your life, like the relationships that you have with people in general. So the first card that we start out with here, which is your overall energy for 2020, Gemini, is the 9 of Pentacles. And this is all about your self-esteem and your self-confidence. And it is the overall energy, like I say. So this is kind of where you find yourself in 2020. This energy, all that happens to you in 2020 is going to come back to this energy, and about how you view yourself, because this isn't about how other people view you, this is about how you view you, whether you are satisfied with what you've achieved, whether you're satisfied with who you are, whether you're happy with the person you've become or are becoming, are changing into. this is also about looking back as well and kind of patting ourselves on the back, or patting yourselves on the back, Gemini, and saying, well done for having got to where you've got to. Because at the end of the day, the only person who can ever get you anywhere is yourself. Other people are there to guide maybe, or give you a helping hand, but when it comes down to it, ultimately, you can ignore all the help that's given. You can go your own way, and really that's what this is about. This is about you having done whatever it is that you've done it off your own steam. Like I said, that doesn't mean that other people haven't been there to help you or give you guidance or support. But ultimately, when it comes down to it, you have that choice whether or not you're going to get yourself to where you're going. And the card that's come out with the Nine of Pentacles is the Moon card. And this is the Major Arcana card here. So it kind of is saying to me that maybe there's going to be some things that you're going to keep hidden. The Moon card can often be a card of confusion as well, of not seeing things clearly. A time of feeling as though you're in the dark about things. That not everything is being revealed to you. I often like to see it as a bit like a jigsaw puzzle, and you've got the puzzle but you haven't got all the pieces, so you're trying to fit the pieces in that you think should fit, but then you don't know for definite whether that is exactly how it is or whether it's just kind of your interpretation of something, and that can kind of have this effect of feeling that you're going a little bit like I wouldn't say insane, although the moon can have that kind of effect on people as well, but there can be this kind of feeling of like, is this right? Do I trust my intuition? Are my instincts telling me the right thing? Is this the right piece for the right puzzle? Even though it might look like it's right, the picture might not be right, the fitting might be right, but the picture might be completely different. So there is this kind of feeling of just this general, maybe not seeing everything as clearly as you would like to. Maybe you feel that people are holding back information from you. Or maybe you yourself are going to be holding information back from other people as well. Maybe during this process of kind of finding your self-esteem and your self-worth, you're feeling as though you're having to do that on a kind of inner, more kind of secret, because the moon is also about mystery and just things kind of kept in the dark. But it is a necessary thing as well sometimes we need to put things into the dark and keep them, because that's like, if you think of a seed will only grow in the dark. If you try to put the seed out in the sunshine, it will just shrivel up and die. A seed needs to be planted in the soil where it's dark in order for it to actually germinate. It doesn't germinate in the light, it germinates in the dark, in secret. It's a process that happens out of the limelight. So that could also have something to do with the message here. But these are your overall messages, and they may return to these, Gemini, throughout the reading as well. So you start January off, Gemini, with the King of Cups. King of Cups being the energy of water, the very instinctual, sensitive, intuitive, kind, considerate, caring, in this particular card, he's known as the wounded healer as well, because he's great at helping everybody else, but he's not so good at looking after himself or helping himself in the sense of what he needs, meeting his own needs. He really does kind of need to be in a relationship, the King of Cups. He kind of lives for that. But it came out with the Hermit, which is saying to me that at this present time, and it's in reverse as well, so it's saying to me at this present time there is this feeling that you want to kind of, or you're having to go within and find your own answers. This could either be yourself, Gemini, or this could be somebody that you're dealing with here. Male or female, makes no difference. Both have masculine and feminine within both genders. But the interesting thing for me about this card is there is this little face here. If I turn it up this way, you'll probably see it better. This little face here is poking out, and it's a feeling that there's a kind of a half in and half out energy about this. Maybe it's somebody that you're in a relationship with, or you have been in a relationship with, or you yourself have got this energy at the moment, and I just feel that you're half in and half out. You're not completely immersed in it. And that's the thing about the King of Cups, is that he does tend to completely immerse himself into something, particularly when it comes to love or anything kind of creatively, kind of, he's quite poetic and quite kind of, he's drawn to the arts and the gentler side of life. That's not to say that he hasn't got a passionate side to his nature as well. It represents the water signs of Scorpio, Cancer and Pisces. So there is definitely a very strong, passionate side, but it's a more, how can you put it? It's a more, I don't want to use the word reserved, because I don't think it is reserved. I think there's an element of the King of Cups having to really trust somebody before they really release that side of themselves. But with this Hermit card here, if you see here as well, these keys are hanging off the door here. But I don't think there's a keyhole on this door. I think there's just keys, but no keyhole. So that's interesting as well. It kind of says to me that what you're looking for isn't here. But I do just get this feeling kind of half in and half out. Not fully immersed, not fully... what's the word? Not fully... I don't think it's not cooperating. It's not, you're not fully cooperating, or this person isn't fully cooperating, whoever that represents for you, Gemini. But there is this sense of somebody who's not... I keep getting the word and it keeps disappearing again. Not very helpful. Yeah, not immersed, not fully immersed. There's another word, but I can't think of it. It may come to me later in the reading, and I will go back to it if it does. But those are the energies in January, and then in February we find the Three of Swords. And the Three of Swords is a card of heartache and pain and Deep wounding. Deep wounding. Normally, because this is done by somebody who you thought you could trust. It doesn't have to be somebody in a relationship. This could also be a good friend who you feel has stabbed you through the heart by something that they've done. And this could be your energy, Gemini. Again, you could be the one that's doing the wounding. You could be betraying somebody and that you're going to get found out, or somebody has done this to you. But it's come out with the Six of Air as well. But I think that this is something to do with this card, this Hermit card, this half in and half out, non-committal. That's the word I'm looking for. They're not committed. They're half in and half out. They can't decide. They can't make their mind up whether or not they're going to commit to this. And this could be the result of that. Maybe you, Gemini, are fed up with waiting for this and you kind of go off and do something that maybe you are going to regret later. Or you have already. Or the other person does this to you because maybe you, Gemini, are not committing to them and they thought that you would. Because the King of Cups is all about wanting that love. That's what he's seeking. That's what he really wants. He wants to give his heart away. And in this card, his heart has been completely destroyed. Just totally broken. There is, strangely enough, within this card, there is a kind of cathartic element, shall we say, because although it's a very painful situation, and it is a very painful situation, there is no doubt about the amount of pain that is involved with this card. No doubt at all. But it allows you to kind of see things clearly. It allows you to kind of suddenly realise that things maybe were not the way you thought they were. And maybe that's why the Six of Air is here as well, because this is allowing you to move on, Gemini. Leaving that situation behind. Leaving all this stress and this turmoil and this, maybe this is also what the moon's about as well, the things that have been kept secret and hidden from you. That are suddenly revealed and you see things as they are, but you've been trying to put the pieces together, and you may find yourself trying to put the pieces together over the next few months as well, or over this year, trying to kind of work out how that happened. Why did it happen? So there is a situation here of pain that is going to be moving things forward, and it will be moving forward into calmer, more serene, more quieter waters, moving into your future, leaving the past behind, leaving this situation behind and moving away. I could even be moving literally. You may also find yourself literally moving somewhere else. Like leaving the area, moving to a different town. Possibly even a different country for some of you. It may be a push that you need to get you kind of doing something other. So in March, we have the Four of Cups. And the Four of Cups is saying to me that this comes after this here. There is a feeling of dissatisfaction here. There is a feeling of, not disappointment. I suppose it is disappointment, but yeah, just kind of a real inner sadness. These four cups are still standing. They haven't been knocked over, and that kind of represents the fact that there is still something that can be built on here. but it would take a lot, because the fours are about a kind of solid foundation. So it's saying that whatever you had with this person, there could be a possibility of building on it. This doesn't have to be a third party. This does not have to be somebody else involved. It's just something that's happened that has completely broken the trust or your heart in somebody. And this is the outcome, is you kind of being on your own, but also kind of questioning yourself as to how. Again, I get the feeling of, how did this happen? Why did it happen? I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with this person. I thought this was the right person for me. These sisters here kind of symbolise the voices in your head, if you like. These are Psyche's two sisters, who are both very jealous of what she had, because what she had from the outside looked like she had everything. Or she still has it in this card, actually. This card, she still has everything. But there is this deep sense of dissatisfaction with life the way it is. And relationships as well, the way they are. Because this is cups, this is about relationships. This is about who you give your cup to, who you allow to fill your cup up. And it has come out again with the Three of Swords, with Three of Air. So this is all, for me, this is all related. There has been a really deep wounding here, Gemini. Somebody has been really, really deeply hurt. And they're finding it really difficult to get over this situation. It just keeps coming back up. And this could be something that happened a while back. It doesn't have to be something that's just occurred. This could have happened last year. It could have happened the year before. It could be a lot sooner. It could have been something that only happened a couple of months back. But there is this deep feeling of distress and pain. Because here she's kind of holding herself like she doesn't know what to do with herself. But like I said, there is a cathartic energy with this as well. There is a healing process that takes place purely because of the energy of realization that things were not as you believed they were. Again, going back to the moon. And in April, we have the Star, but we have the Star in reverse. So the Star is saying to me that it's a major arcana card. It's an energy that's been around for a while, and being in reverse, it says to me that this is something that hasn't been resolved. That this kind of, when it's up this way, this is Pandora's box. The story is of Pandora's box and all the nasty suffering that she lets out into the world. And she was told not to open the box. But of course, when we're told not to do something, it immediately sparks that interest in us of, why can't I look? I want to know now more than I did before. So there is this kind of feeling that you've opened something and that you can't close the lid on it. And this could also be a mental thing as well. This could also be a feeling of like you just can't put the lid down and shut it and just kind of put it to rest. There is this beautiful star at the very end, at the very bottom, after all the nasty things have been unleashed. And this could also be representing a lot of arguments within the relationship, a lot of not seeing eye to eye about things. But there is still this feeling of hope even though it may be kind of dwindling hope, you still feel as though you can't put the lid down, and you can even see the star in the reflection at the bottom as well. So it's saying to me that whoever this is about, whatever this is about, it's constant, like it's very emotional, it's very kind of constant in your awareness, in your body, in your mind, your thinking process. It's like you kind of can't let go, you can't forget, you can't move on, you can't stop thinking about this person. Gemini, and that could either be you or that could be the other person. And you also have the Wheel of Fortune, or Wheel's Fortune as it's known in this card, and again upside down, reversed, another major arcana card. So this is big energy that you're dealing with here. Again, I'm going to say this is long lasting energy. This is energy that has been around for quite some time. And there is a kind of feeling of this was fated, a fated attraction, a fated kind of, you could not escape this. It had to happen. You don't know why. You're still in the dark about it. You still haven't worked out what it was all about. But you are feeling stronger somehow from it. You kind of built yourself back up, or you are building yourself back up. This card to me, it kind of represents wheels within wheels as well. This kind of turning of the cogs. It's almost like, you know, I kind of see it as very astrological as well, when a planet aligns, when planets move from one sign into another sign, particularly the bigger planets, the outer planets, the 5 outer planets. When they move, things change in our lives and we kind of feel it. And it has a knock-on effect to whatever is happening. And this is also kind of the star and kind of Wheel of Fortune to me kind of go hand in hand in that sense. Our hopes and our dreams, our wishes and our aspirations sometimes kind of almost seem as though life is very unfair to us. And there is a sense of that with this card, these two cards here. But it has been very unfair. And that's how you're feeling and what you're dealing with in April. And by the time you get round to May, you have the Wheel of Fortune again. So the Wheel of Fortune has come out twice, but this time it's come out the right way, which says to me that you're beginning to see things differently. And rather than seeing yourself as being kind of fated, or kind of feeling that you don't have any say or any control over this situation, which is what I feel is more to do with this upside down reversed Wheel of Fortune. This is saying that these spokes here for me represent the kind of law of attraction. What we put out there, we bring back into ourselves. Because these are the 3 fates, shall we say. Kind of the thread of life here. And it's all very inner stuff as well. It's all kind of takes place within the depths of ourselves. This kind of a maturity with this card as well. Kind of maturity goes along with understanding this wheel, the dharmic wheel in Buddhist terms. It would be called a dharmic kind of karmic wheel that we don't feel as though we have any control over. But for me, it's kind of saying put yourself at the centre of this wheel and decide what it is that you want to achieve, what it is that you are bringing into your life, what is it that you are attracting, why are you attracting these situations, these painful situations that you keep feeling is being repeated, the repeated story of going round and round and round on that wheel. Because these are the kind of the maid, the mother and the crone, these three sisters here, well not sisters but the three, they're known as the three sisters I believe, maid, the mother and the crone, and the weaver, the spinner, and the weaver, the spinner, and the one that cuts the thread at the end. So it is a story of our life, really, and it's where do we want to kind of put ourselves on this wheel? Do we want to stay on the outside and just keep going round and round, or do we want to put ourselves at the very centre of the universe, the very centre of our universe? Which I know is quite difficult, because when we're younger we're constantly told that we're not the centre of the universe and that the world does not evolve around us, etc., etc. But in fact it truly does. We just have to kind of grasp that as a concept and make the change. And it's come out with the 10 of air, which did come out upside down, has come out in reverse. But the 10 of air in this card for me is a releasing energy, rather than kind of being pinned to the ground and all these swords and all these kind of, this painful, really painful. I'm not saying that it's not a painful situation, but there's a kind of a feeling of things that are being released or shredded or no longer needed, being kind of let go of. And being a 10 kind of has that element of an ending, of a completion, the completion of this kind of cycle of you just going round and round and round on this wheel and getting nowhere and kind of not getting any answers and not feeling as though anybody's understanding what's going on. And you're not understanding what's going on, especially Gemini. So this is a kind of completion energy for me, which goes very nicely with the Wheel of Fortune. It's saying that something that has been an ongoing stress and an ongoing worry and an ongoing kind of mental realm of yeah, that kind of what I was saying about earlier, the kind of, you know, with the upside down star energy as well, of not being able to let this go, not being able to put it to bed, not being able to put the lid down on the box. The constant kind of just awareness of that situation, regardless of where you are, what you're doing, kind of just wanting something to change, wanting something to move on. This is saying that that's a completion of that worry and that stress. It's like it is coming to a close. And as that happens, we have the Magician in June. And the Magician is literally saying, okay, so now you've closed that door, you've put the lid down on that box. Now it's time to kind of gather all your tools together and start manifesting. And I think that goes very nicely with this card here as well, because this is all about, like I was saying, being the centre of your wheel, centre of your own world, centre of your universe. What is it you want to attract? What is it you want to manifest? What is it that you want to create? because the magician here has all his tools. He's got his caduceus here, which is the creative wand, which kind of represents our DNA, as well as the kundalini energy, the fire energy. The sword represents the sword of truth, the mind, the cutting edge of something, being able to see things clearly. The cups represents our emotion and the feelings and the love that we get for what we do and why we do something, or why we want to create something and manifest it in the first place. All the feeling side of things, which is really important. And then the pentacle down here for me represents the actual physical realm of bringing it into the physical world, which is why he has his hand up and his hand down, because he's bringing that energy down into the physical realm, creating it in the physical, but knowing that it's created outside of the physical first, that he has to kind of use all these tools together to make it happen, to make it a reality, to make it real. And the Eight of Fire has come out with this, which is an interesting card, because for me it's saying that this is going to be quite easy. I always see this as a kind of easy flowing energy, the Eight of Fire. It's saying that things are just going along nicely, that there's no bumps in the road, there's no hold-ups, there's no hidden traps, no stress. It's kind of blazing a path here as well. If you see these little firelight creature things here, it's almost like, to me, it's like she's riding on this panda and kind of blazing this path for something new in her life, or your life, Gemini. I only say her because it's a woman, it's a female figure that's sitting on the panda, and she's kind of hiding herself as well. So there's a kind of sense of whatever she's kind of creating here, or whatever you are creating here, Gemini, you're kind of I wouldn't say being secretive about it, although there could be elements of that, because again, the moon is your kind of overall energy for 2020. So there may be a feeling at times that you don't want to give everything away, that you're quite kind of possibly reserved about things. Maybe just wanting not to speak too much about it before it actually kind of manifests in your life. But there is an awareness here within yourself. You know that something is happening. You know that the transformation and the change that is coming into your life is going to be very important for you. It's going to kind of, I feel as though it's going to take you down a new path, something that you've not experienced in the past. Very creative energy. So this is kind of saying to me, think big. Whatever this is, Gemini, think big. Create something that you really, really desire. Because this is an energy of things just kind of all coming together nicely. Just kind of riding those waves. Enjoying life. And I think that's a key message here as well with the manifestation, is enjoy it. Enjoy it while you're doing it. And more will come. Because we have coming out here, again, we have the moon, but it is in reverse. So again, I just get the feeling that this is about you kind of being more secretive. You kind of keeping things in the dark from other people. You may also feel as though other people are keeping things in the dark from you. You've got the crab here, and this actually has come out in July as well. And the moon energy for me is very much, again, the kind of Cancerian energy, ruled by, Cancers are ruled by the moon. And the moon, of course, also has a big sway over our emotions. So you may also feel very emotionally charged in July, because this is about July. And this is about this kind of feeling of kind of, if you look here, she's kind of got three faces, the kind of triple goddess as well, kind of looking forwards, looking backwards, and looking into the future all at once, which can in itself be very confusing. So there can also be an element of confusion within this card. But again, I get the feeling that this could well be more to do with other people's sense of confusion about what you're up to and what you're doing. Because we have the Eight of Earth, or the Eight of Pentacles as it's better known, which is a beautiful card. And for me, I see this as very much a creative energy, in the sense of this is something being created out of kind of, you know, it starts out as a lump of wood, shall we say. It starts out as a tree with this kind of life force energy, and then it gets made into something else. And to me, it's almost like you can see the transformation of this happening. You can see it kind of changing from one thing to another. So it's about putting work into something. It's about kind of creating something out of nothing. But something that's going to be long lasting, and something that's going to give you great enjoyment. Because this violin, this musical instrument that's being created here from this tree, which is like, you know, these branches here, is literally, you know, it's able to give hours, if not years, of pleasure once it's been fully formed. So this is kind of saying to me that this is you creating something that you're... there's a big emotional attachment to this. And you're... I would say it's kind of like you're putting your all into it. You're really focused on it. But you may also be very kind of... I just get the feeling of secretive about it. You may not want to tell everybody what you're doing, or why you're doing it, or how you're doing it even. And you yourself may not even be aware of how you're doing it. It's almost like something that starts out as something from this sense of enjoyment, because this is an 8 as well here, so this kind of sense of enjoyment of doing it, and it kind of blossoms and grows into something much bigger than you were expecting, just by enjoying what you're doing, just by this new path that you're walking. But you yourself, like I said, don't necessarily understand the process. But that's fine. You don't need to understand the process. It just needs to be enjoyed. And you just need to watch it unfurl and unfold in front of your eyes. And just keep enjoying it. Gemini. That's the feeling that I get from this. Just keep enjoying it. It's there for you to enjoy. And as we move into August, we have the card of Strength, which is saying to me that this process that you're going through here is making you feel so much stronger within yourself. It's almost like you have found this real kind of sense of confidence and self-worth and belief in yourself as well. And you've done that by kind of taming this beast. I think that's also got something to do with this as well, the process. The not being so affected by what other people think or say to you. Of not reacting as quickly as maybe you used to. There's a sense of you don't really care anymore what other people, you know, it's not that you don't care, but you don't really mind anymore. You're not really affected by it. You're not really, it's like, oh well, if that's what they want to think, just let them think it. I'm not going to be bothered by that. I'm not going to let it upset me. I'm not going to let it change how I'm doing anything. I'm not going to rise to the bait. And it's come out with the Page of Air. Both of these, actually both of these were no, that one was in reverse. The Page of Air in reverse, which again is saying to me that there's something that you're not ready to reveal yet. The Page of Air is about questions. Usually it's kind of seeking answers, wanting to understand again, and it could also again be you wanting to understand this process that is going on within you. I will just say astrologically, I do believe that interesting as well, that in May, the moon's nodes move out of Cancer and Capricorn into Gemini and Sagittarius. So Gemini, things could well shift for you after May. You may find that life has a very different energy about it. As the moon's nodes move, the north node is going to be in your sign of Gemini. It has been in Cancer for the past 18 months, but it is moving now, or it will be moving. So from May onwards in this reading, I think that the moon's nodes, and you have got the moon twice as well, so you may find that you are being particularly affected by that energy, Gemini. And there is a process, because you've got a lot of major arcana cards here as well. From May onwards, you've got the Star, you've got the Wheel of Fortune, you've got the Magician, you've got the Moon again, you've got the Strength card, all in a row. And that's a lot of energy to deal with, Gemini. A heck of a lot of energy to deal with. Big energy. Big shifts. So that's what I think this is saying here, that the process that you are going through, you yourself aren't quite understanding, and maybe looking for answers within yourself again. But you're not ready to reveal what it is that you're going through yet. You're not ready to kind of reveal the finished product of yourself, shall we say, because I feel that that's what this finished product is about. This finished product is about you, even though it may involve you being kind of creatively involved in something else yourself. It's like those two are going to create something new within you, if that makes any sense, Gemini. Hopefully it does. If anybody wants to make a comment on that, please leave it in the comment section down below, and I'll try and get back to you and explain more about what I mean by that. So we then have, in August, sorry, September, we have the Nine of Swords in reverse. So this may be a period of time where things are just like really getting very stressful, even though you've had this kind of strengthening and this kind of period of time where you've not been affected by things, where things haven't, you kind of found this inner strength. In September, the Nine of Swords is saying to me that there is going to be a situation where you are going to feel as though everything is kind of on top of you and that you can't get on top of it. It is known as the card of nightmares, the card of kind of all your worst fears seeming to all happen at once and not being able to kind of see a way out of the situation that you find yourself in. And you have the Temptation card come out with it, Gemini, in reverse again. So there could be, in September, there could be a situation where you're going to kind of get tempted by something, because it's in reverse. Again, I would say that this is kind of a longer lasting energy. And it reminds me, like, because this is an apple, and this kind of angel, kind of, I suppose, kind of a representation of the devil, and the kind of, it's very cleverly done though, because her wings look like the kind of leaf of an apple, almost like she is this apple, she is the temptation itself. So you may find that you're going to get tempted by somebody. But when I think of the apple, I immediately think of two things. I think of Adam and Eve, and how Eve tempted Adam with the apple, but the apple basically was wisdom, in the sense that we kind of realised something that we weren't aware of before, which could also have something to do with this moon again. This overall energy of the moon, of realisation of things kind of being hidden that kind of suddenly reveal themselves. Because the moon has a habit of doing that as well, kind of hiding behind clouds, and then the clouds will part and the moon is kind of suddenly revealed, and you see that it's there. And it can also help to light your way in the dark as well, the moon. So there is that kind of the story of Adam and Eve, that, you know, had Adam not taken the apple, or bite from the apple, which is here, and it's shown in the shape of a heart as well, which I find quite interesting, because often temptation comes in the form of something that appears to be enticing, shall we say, but can often cause more problems than it solves. Also, this kind of glistening chest here is of all this kind of gold, and you know, that glistens isn't necessarily gold. And what we are tempted by, the things that we believe are worthy. But it also reminds me of the Snow White story as well, of how Snow White took a bite from the apple and immediately choked and appeared to be dead, but she actually wasn't dead. And I'm not saying, Gemini, that that's exactly what's going to happen, kind of like, you know, watch out for apples, don't go eating apples in September, even though that is kind of apple season. But what I'm trying to say here is that especially because it's upside down, and especially because you've got this here. Don't be tempted by somebody who may seem to be offering you more than they are actually able to give you. Don't be tempted by things, yeah, by an offer that is going to lead to a lot of stress and a lot of worry and a lot of fear and anxiety. You could find in September that somebody is going to come along and offer you something, but it isn't what it appears to be. And this person could almost turn out to be like, you know, your worst nightmare if you go down that path. So just kind of take that as a warning, Gemini. These energies together. That's what it seems, that's what it's saying to me. So September, October, we have the Fool card, which is interesting. The Fool is saying, trust yourself. Trust your instincts, trust your own understanding and your own knowing. And I think it's kind of saying, you know, trust to jump away from this situation. Leap away from this. Do not be tempted by what appears to be more than it is. Sorry, less than it is. I want to say empty promises, empty words and empty promises. And I just get the feeling that you need to kind of trust your own instincts. Trust that you're not going to be led up the garden path by yourself. The Fool also has this eagle above him here as well, and the eagle is known as kind of the bird of Zeus as well. Zeus has an eagle in his card, and the eagle has the ability to see above things. It kind of sees the bigger picture. So I think that's what this is saying here as well, is look at the bigger picture. Before you make any decisions, look at the bigger picture. I know this is coming after, because this is in October. So you're going to be, I feel as though you're going to be leaping away from that situation. But you do have the Sun in reverse. But even in reverse, the Sun is a good card to have, because it's saying that there is an element here of seeing through the veil, shall we say. Also with this card here as well. But this card is a feminine Sun as well, which is quite unusual. She's very feminine, rather than normal kind of masculine energy here. Again, I would say that it's saying trust your instincts, trust your inner knowing, trust that I hesitate to say female, but it is a kind of known as a female instinct about something. Like when a mother knows something about her child, even though her child hasn't told her. instinctively, mothers often know things about their children. And I get the same kind of energy here, that there's an instinctive kind of knowing. Maybe you don't trust it though, because it is in reverse. If it was up the right way, I would say that it's very much about kind of clarity and illumination and seeing the picture clearly and really kind of seeing through something. But because it's in reverse, I'd say that it's kind of, it's not as clear or as clear cut as it could be. But there is still this kind of sense of understanding and underlying understanding that things could be not what they appear, and that you need to leave that situation. But this is a major arcana card. These are two major arcana cards together. Again, big energy shifts, big moving on energy. And the major energy to do with the Fool is trust. And trusting yourself. Gemini. That's the energy that I get in October. Because in November we have the Five of Pentacles in reverse. And I feel that this is about you really kind of moving away from that situation. Again, you may feel as though you're having to do it in this kind of more hidden way, shall we say, kind of hidden and not very, I wouldn't say not honest or dishonest, but this feeling of kind of having to cover things up in order to leave something behind. Because the Five of Pentacles often talks about somebody being kind of left out in the cold. And it's in reverse here. So it could be that you yourself are having to kind of kick somebody else out into the cold. But interestingly, you have the Nine of Pentacles come out with this again. And this is your overall energy for 2020. So I think that this is about your self-esteem, in the sense of you not being kind of hoodwinked by this person. This person kind of trying to convince you that things are okay, but you can kind of see through that. And it could also be you actually leaving as well, Gemini. You could be deciding to actually leave a situation here, because she is also cloaked as well. So the cloaked thing, I feel, is kind of just kind of hiding something, or having to again, maybe it's to do with kind of not revealing something as well, of keeping under wraps, keeping something under wraps. But in this Nine of Earth, she has this kind of little flower here, and the way she holds it in her hand, or is holding it in her hands, for me always kind of says, you know, look how precious this is. And I feel that this is about the seeds maybe that you have been planting in the dark, that have been kind of growing throughout 2020, that you have kind of brought into being, which is also about you, but this is about you not losing your self-esteem and your self-worth and your self-confidence, even though there has been this temptation here. Something has tried to tempt you kind of off the path, shall we say. Something has tried to convince you that they were something that they're not. And that's what I get from this card here as well. And you have kind of come out on top. You have come out with this kind of realization that all this time, this was what you were kind of really growing, was your own self-worth and your own self-confidence. And in December, you have the Three of Wands. And the Three of Wands to me is all about taking a risk. It's about setting out on a new path, not knowing where you're going. In this particular card, this character here is offering this character here, he's a crown, because he knows that he's really a prince. He doesn't know it himself. He's completely oblivious to that. And the story of this is Jason and the Argonauts, who sets out to capture the golden fleece. So there is a risk element here. And he's risking his kingdom by giving him the crown. He doesn't know what's going to happen, but he's also risking something. He's risking his freedom in many ways, because by accepting this crown, he has to accept a lot of responsibility as well. But the colours are interesting in this card for me as well, because this is kind of purple, which always represents a divine message. It's like the higher energy, shall we say, the kind of purple crown chakra energy. And it's come out with the High Priestess, which is similar in some ways to this kind of hermit energy as well, the kind of in and out energy, where you started off, Gemini, with this hermit energy at the beginning of the year. You've kind of now come round to being the High Priestess. You have this High Priestess inner knowing energy. It's like you've really kind of learnt to trust your inner world and your understanding of yourself, and not give your power away to somebody else, even though that, you know, the temptation may be there. And I do feel that the temptation is going to be very strong with this particular card here, or these two cards. But the High Priestess is all about your intuition, your understanding on a deeper level. It's the dream world, it's Neptune energy, it's the realm of where we kind of do our manifestation, if you like. It's where we kind of do bring things from the other side into the physical realm. And so you may feel as though you are taking a risk by the end of the year. Maybe even taking a risk by trusting this energy or this side of yourself, Gemini, that you are kind of becoming more aware of, shall we say, your connection to the higher divine energies, which is offering you so much more than this. And I feel it's also about remaining true to yourself as well. That if you remain true to yourself, which is also maybe what these cards here are about, these two Nine of Pentacles, because it's come out twice, as did the moon as well. So I feel that there's going to be a lot of kind of mystery involved and a lot of uncertainty as well. But it's about learning to trust that inner world, that inner knowing, that inner voice. That will get you through. And kind of, I just feel that this is where your kind of self-worth and your confidence is going to lie. At the end of 2020, trusting that there is kind of more to this world than what we see, feel, touch, and that this is your inner domain, that nobody else, this is your inner domain, this is yours, this doesn't belong to anybody else but you. You can share it with others if you want to, but this is yours. And that, Gemini, is where I'm going to end your reading for today. And I'm going to say thank you very much for listening, to anybody who has listened to all of my video. Could you again please like it up, because it does help me to grow my channel, subscribe, and also hit the bell so that you can get future videos as and when I put them out. I hope you have a great 2020, and also if anybody, you feel any other Geminis that you know may benefit from this reading, anybody who you know's Sun, Moon, Venus, Rising Gemini, that you think it could be of benefit too. And also if you don't feel that this resonates with you, because it is kind of overall general reading, with the link down below that I'm going to put in the description box, if you go and look up your other signs, then you could also go and check out the other readings that I've done as well, because your message may be found in one of those rather than actually in this reading for your sun sign. Okay, I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to say thank you very much, and hopefully I will see you back again soon. Take care, Gemini.